You know that feeling after a big meal where you just feel
Oh,
heavy?
yeah, definitely.
Or maybe, you notice your smile isn't quite as bright as it used to be,
Hmm.
and who hasn't been bothered by, like, an itchy bug bite that just won't quit?
Right. So annoying.
Well, what if I told you there's something surprisingly simple, activated charcoal that people are turning to for, well, all of these things?
That's right. And it sounds kind of strange maybe, but it's basically um, carbon-rich stuff. Think coconut shells or bamboo.
Okay.
And they heat these up to incredibly high temperatures. What this does is create like a massive network of tiny, tiny pores and tunnels inside.
So it's full of holes.
Exactly, but like microscopically, it becomes incredibly porous. Think of it as having just this huge surface area on a molecular level.
Wow.
And it's that massive surface that lets it grab onto all sorts of different molecules.
It's wild to think about. And it's not some, like, trendy new thing, is it? I
Yeah.
hear it's been used in ERs for ages.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's been a staple in emergency rooms for a long time, yeah. And now you're seeing it pop up all over the place, sort of crossing over into natural health.
Right. So for this deep dive, we've looked at some really interesting info that breaks down what it can actually do and even gives some practical ideas for how you, the listener, could potentially use it.
Yep. Consider this your personal tour of this intriguing black powder.
Okay, let's dive in. One of the big ones people talk about is natural
Right.
detox.
Detoxification. The information we looked at explains that activated charcoal works right there in your gut. It has this, well, pretty amazing ability to bind to different things your body might want to get rid of.
Bind. Like how?
Think of it like a magnet, maybe, or a sponge. It just attracts and holds onto specific stuff passing through your digestive system.
Okay, so if you've maybe overdone it a bit on the weekend,
Hmm.
processed foods, maybe a few drinks,
Mm.
could this sort of gently help your system deal with that? Or even like environmental pollutants we just sort of encounter?
That's the idea, precisely. And this binding action, it isn't just like a general sweep. It seems particularly helpful for some digestive issues.
Okay.
So if you're dealing with that uncomfortable bloating or gas or indigestion we mentioned earlier,
Hmm.
this might offer some targeted relief.
Oh, that sounds like something a lot of folks would be interested in.
I think so.
So it's less about a dramatic full body cleanse, maybe, and
Mhm.
more about specific help for digestion.
That seems to be a more accurate way to think about it, yeah.
Okay. Now, switching gears a bit,
Mm.
skincare. You basically can't scroll online without seeing activated charcoal in face masks, scrubs,
Mm.
everything. What's the deal there?
Well, it's fascinating, really. That same porous quality we talked about for inside, it works wonders on the outside, too.
How's about?
The material we reviewed indicates it can actually absorb dirt, oil, and other gunk directly from your skin's surface.
Like pulling it out.
Exactly. That's why it's become such a hot ingredient in products for things like acne and blackheads. So if you're struggling with that, it might be something to look into.
That makes total sense. Like tiny magnets for pore clogging stuff.
Pretty much.
And speaking of cleaning things up, teeth whitening. That's another huge one for charcoal, right? Have you looked into that?
I have, yeah. And the info suggests it can bind to surface stains on your teeth, things from coffee, tea, red wine, the culprits.
Right.
Now, it's important to be clear, it's not changing the actual, like, inherent color of your teeth deep down.
Okay, so no bleaching effect.
No, not like peroxide, but by lifting off those external stains, it can be a really effective and, natural way to help brighten things up.
Interesting. It really does seem to come back to that binding, that grabbing ability, doesn't it?
It really does.
And apparently that even works for bug bites and stings, which could
Well,
totally ruin a nice day. Have you found info on that?
yes, actually. When you put activated charcoal on topically, like right on the bite or sting,
Yeah.
it can help draw out some of the toxins or irritants, whatever the bug injected, basically.
Okay.
And by doing that, it can lead to, less swelling and hopefully less of that awful itching or burning. So yeah, if you get bitten, could be a handy natural fix.
That is definitely good to know, especially with warmer weather coming. Okay, so we've covered the what, but what's cool about the info we have is it gives practical DIY ideas.
Yeah, some hands-on stuff.
Let's start with this detox charcoal lemonade. Sounds Interesting. Have you ever tried that?
I haven't personally, no. But according to the recipe, you'd mix filtered water, some lemon juice, and a tiny bit of activated charcoal, like an eighth of a teaspoon or maybe one capsule opened up.
Okay, not much at all.
No, very little. Then add some raw honey or maple syrup for sweetness and just a pinch of sea salt. Mix it well. Drink it on an empty stomach.
Empty stomach. That seems important.
Yeah, the guidelines also say, don't overdo it. Maybe once a day for just 3 to 5 days max.
That empty stomach thing. It makes me think you want to give the charcoal a clear path, right? Before food gets in the way.
That seems like the most logical reason, yeah. Give it the best chance to bind what it needs to bind without interference.
Gotcha. Okay, what about foreskin? That face mask idea.
Right, the charcoal face mask. This one sounds pretty good, actually. It combines the charcoal powder with bentonite clay.
Oh, yeah. Another good one for drawing stuff out.
Exactly. Then you mix that powder blend with either apple cider vinegar or just water until you get a smooth paste.
Like mud.
Kind of, yeah. And you can add an optional drop of tea tree oil, which is nice for blemishes.
Okay.
Then you just, apply it to clean skin, let it sit for maybe 10-15 minutes until it dries, and then rinse it off really well with warm water. The suggestion is maybe once a week.
Nice. A little weekly deep clean.
Yeah, and you get that potential synergy, right? The charcoal and the clay working together.
Cool. Okay, moving on to teeth. That DIY toothpaste, it sounds almost too simple. Have you looked at the ingredients?
I have. It really is simple. Just activated charcoal powder mixed with coconut oil.
That's it.
Pretty much. Optionally, you can add a tiny bit of baking soda and maybe a drop of peppermint essential oil for that minty fresh feeling.
Okay.
Blend it up, dip your brush in, brush gently. Gently is key for about 2 minutes, and then rinse your mouth really, really well. You want to get all the black stuff out.
Right. Don't want to look like a pirate.
Yeah.
And how often for that?
The recommendation is maybe just 2 or 3 times a week.
Okay.
And that caution about not overdoing it is important, because charcoal is slightly abrasive. Using it too often could potentially wear down enamel over time. So moderation.
Good point. Definitely something for you listening to keep in mind. Okay. Back to those pesky bug bites. The DIY paste.
Also super straightforward. Mix activated charcoal powder with some coconut oil to make a paste.
Simple again.
Yep. And you can add an optional pinch of turmeric. Some people like that for inflammation.
Oh, interesting.
Then you just dab it right on the bite or sting, maybe cover it with a little bandage and leave it for half an hour or so. Or until you feel it getting better.
Worth a try next time a mosquito gets me.
Could be. And finally, for digestive help, after maybe a heavier meal, the source mentions making your own digestive soother capsules.
Capsules, like fill them yourself. Have you ever done that?
I haven't, but it seems easy enough. You just get some empty vegan capsules and carefully fill them with the activated charcoal powder. And the advice is to take just one capsule with a big glass of water after a meal that feels, heavy or might make you feel bloated.
Okay, just one. But this sounds like where we need to be really careful, right?
Absolutely. This is where that crucial safety info comes in loud and clear. The material we reviewed strongly emphasizes using these very sparingly.
Right.
And this is super important. Absolutely avoid taking charcoal at the same time as any medications.
Why is that?
Because that binding action we keep talking about, it's not selective. It can bind to medications and prevent your body from absorbing them properly.
Oh, wow. Okay, so that could make your meds not work.
Exactly. Or work less effectively. That's a really, really important point for you to remember.
Definitely.
It is critical. The info includes a very clear safety note, just reminding everyone charcoal needs moderation. Like we just said, it can interfere with absorbing meds, but also potentially essential nutrients if you use it too often.
So it's not something to just take every day without thinking.
Definitely not. This isn't something you should take lightly at all.
Absolutely. And the sources are super clear. Talk to your doctor. Consult a healthcare provider before you start using activated charcoal, especially if you're pregnant, nursing, or taking any kind of medication.
That's non-negotiable advice, really. For your own safety and well-being.
Yeah.
It really just underlines how important it is to be informed,
Yeah.
Be responsible, even with stuff that's considered natural.
For sure.
And connecting this back, while charcoal has these interesting potential uses, it's definitely not some magic bullet, right? And how well it works can probably vary a lot from person to person. Good point. So let's recap this deep dive for everyone listening. We've seen how activated charcoal is potentially quite versatile, from possibly helping with gentle detox and digestive issues like gas and bloating,
Right.
to uses for skin purification, maybe brightening teeth by lifting surface stains, and even soothing bug bites. It covers a lot of ground.
It really does seem to pop up in a lot of different areas.
And we even walked through some of those DIY ideas that you could explore: the charcoal lemonade, face masks, the toothpaste, the bug bite paste, even those fill your own digestive capsules.
But, and it's a big but,
Yeah,
that safety aspect we hammered home is just absolutely crucial for you to keep front and center. Moderation is key.
right.
Understanding it can mess with medications and nutrients is vital.
Don't take it with your meds.
Definitely not. And if you have any doubts, any questions, any underlying health conditions, talking to your doctor or healthcare provider is always, always the smartest move.
Couldn't agree more. So as you think about all this, the potential benefits the DIY uses, it kind of makes you ponder how these natural tools might fit into your own wellness routine, doesn't it?
It does.
And maybe it even sparks some curiosity about those original materials, like we mentioned way back at the start, the coconut shells, the bamboo.
Yeah.
What makes them special when turned into charcoal? Definitely something for you to mull over.